Hey guys, welcome back to episode 10 of the Boss Battle Show. This is part 2 of 6. We're gonna talk about the best game of all time, Mortal Kombat 2. No! Get over here! All right, this is part 2. I'm Adam Ronin. These are my buddies Gordy and Tammy. We're gonna talk about, in my opinion, probably, it's hard to say it, but for me, it's the greatest game of all time.
Hands down, the best Mortal Kombat game.
Agreed.
To date.
Yeah.
We got a couple days, maybe it might be different.
Today.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2 by Midway Games came out just a year after the huge sudden popularity of Mortal Kombat 1, and they got right to work. They had a year to do it, and then boom. My first experience, I remember because I was deep into Mortal Kombat's butthole, and I got this EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, which is also a defunct magazine. Mm-hmm. And there was a Mortal Kombat 2 special, and I still have it. It's upstairs. I'll show you. And they showed off Mortal Kombat 2 for the first time, like shoddy screenshots that were like taken with a camera, like the colors were all off. But boy, I dissected the fuck out of it. I drew all of the screenshots, all the crazy shit, until my local arcades finally got it. And that truly set the path for me as a gamer when I finally got my hands on MK2. Gordy, thoughts?
I don't remember my first encounter with it, personally.
I don't remember my first encounter, but I have several encounters I do remember.
I do remember you showing me the magazines and being really excited about it. Like, really excited.
Yeah.
An excitement that
I was like, look at this fucking magazine!
Like, you can't duplicate that as an adult. But I remember that, and then I eventually remember playing it in the arcades at the Foothills Fashion Mall, and then with you at the Greeley Mall or Westminster Mall or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, the Westminster Mall.
Yeah.
And the Greeley Mall probably, because I remember going to the Greeley Mall, and there was nobody there, so I would like be excited to go there because nobody went to Greeley because I could get some alone time with the game. And I remember there was like this girl whose dad owned the arcade or whatever, so she was like my age, and I was like, this chick's hot, and she's playing MK,
And she owns an arcade.
My mind was like,
and you're like, I'm gonna go talk to her.
Yeah, no, but she was playing, and she was playing Katana, and boy, that bitch gave me a run for my money. She was really good.
Whew. Katana or the girl? They were both, let's face it, they're both great.
You're right.
Yeah.
The girl controlling Katana. What about you?
I remember actively seeking out MK2. It wasn't like MK1 came to me and then I was part of it. MK2, I was like, I was reading all the magazines, and I think that kind of feels like that was like the early stages of like starting to see like leaked footage of video games being made. That's like when you started to like care about like the development of it. Like, don't mess up what I love.
Right.
Before, everything else was like, it just came out, you bought it, you played it.
Right.
You're like, it was good or it was bad. This was like, don't mess it up while you're making it. I want to see what you're doing. And like, I remember watching like all like the screen capture stuff for it, which was awesome. But we went down to, I think it was the Thornton Mall is the first place that got it.
Oh, the one with Biggs.
Yeah. It was like the little right on the side of I-25, and we go down there, and it was like real early in the day. I think it was like 9 o'clock in the morning or something, and we walk in, and it's just like there, like so pristine. It was all fresh. It didn't have those sticky Mountain Dew fingers all over it yet, and it was just like.
But the thing about Mortal Kombat 2 is the franchise was so popular. That's arguably like the golden age of Mortal Kombat. That you could go into an arcade and they would have MK2, but they would overdo it. They'd have like 15 machines.
Yeah.
Or I remember the Foothills Fashion Mall had a circle of machines. So it was like 6 machines, but it was aligned in a circle, so motherfuckers were just around playing.
This was the first one. So there was one.
There was one.
Yeah, so they had to pre-order this thing way before anybody else. They got one machine in, like get a head start on everybody. And I just remember just getting my ass kicked up and down.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my god, it feels like a totally different game.
Because it was faster, fluider. And this was the first game, although it didn't have the notifications, but you could do combos.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 hits, but, my go-to combo was Sub-Zero. Jump kick, slide, freeze, uppercut, shit like that. Or with Liu Kang, the fucking jump kick, immediate fireball in there.
And you could start like actually putting stuff together that wasn't a combo, but you could turn it into a combo. Like I remember with Katana, like you'd use the fans and like you'd suck them in, and like as soon as they're at their peak, you would do like that little jump kick attack thing, and if they landed, then you could like finish that with something.
Or you could jump and punch and then throw the fan immediately, so you'd get like a 3-hit combo. That was my thing.
Yeah, so it was like hit the fan, and you could land it, pull off like a sweep or an uppercut, and it was just like, oh my god, like you have to have talent to play this. It's not a button masher for the first time, even though you still lose the button masher.
And it was bloody as fuck. Like they really ramped up the gore, so that was my bag right there. And the introduction of this had 12 characters, and it was the thing about it, and this was one Mortal Kombat I can say is the first one that every character was fucking awesome. There wasn't a character who I didn't love the lore, I didn't love their backstory, I didn't love their gameplay. Like, I would say, out of everyone in that, Jax was like the mast, you know?
Yeah.
But he was still cool.
Moveset,
he had a cool moveset, and he was the black guy, so they were like the token black guy for the series. But he'd rip off the motherfucker's arms.
Yeah, he was
the coolest fatality.
Cool. I mean, even like the least interesting characters were awesome.
And Kung Lao, and then they had the new big bad Kintaro.
Kintaro was awesome.
And then the introduction of Shao Kahn, who I feel is probably one of the greatest villains of all time.
Yeah, especially with like Kintaro though, it was like, how can we make Goro cheaper?
Right.
Kintaro
Kintaro was so
fireball.
hard. He was so hard.
He's incredibly hard. A few years ago, when you were living in Denver, we actually tried to beat it again. We had the arcade on the system, and I have some video footage of him just his head exploding, just trying to beat
hard.
Kintaro.
And then you get to Shao Kahn, and not only was it hard, but he talked shit to you, which was kind of not a normal thing for an NPC. He telling you suck and shit, and you're like, man, motherfucker, fuck you. But I do suck, so.
It's smart though, because if you're in the arcade and he tells you that, you're like, oh, put more quarters in this motherfucker.
Or you didn't have to put in quarters, assuming you lived here at the time, which you did, I think. The greatest thing, and I'll never forget it, the best times of my life were at Fun Unlimited. Do you remember Fun Unlimited? Fun Unlimited was an arcade that was just down the street from my house. You paid $4 to get in, $2 on Wednesdays, and everything was on free play. You paid a fee to get in, everything was free to play. And they had MK, and that was
$4.
That was the
that's like a $30 savings for that game.
That was the place to go. Every Friday night, me and my friends would go there and compete. MK2, compete. Now, let me share a story with you that is infamous within my tiny circle of friends. There was a man that would go to Fun Unlimited and play. I was in 6th grade. I was just a fat little chubby fuck. And I just was struggling to be good at MK2. There was a dude. Now, in my mind's eye, this man, he was probably like 23 or 24. Actually, he was probably in high school, but to me, he was, just a god. He had this long trench coat, right? And a long black trench coat, long hair. It was probably a mullet. And his name was Wade, right? And he was unstoppable, dude. Unstoppable. He would fucking kill. He'd have like 50 wins. People, he'd stay there. People would come and go. Nobody could beat him. And then I remember Fun Unlimited held a tournament. Just a little tournament for MK. And of course Wade was reigning champion. And I can't remember what happened, but I remember, back up a little bit. Every time you'd be playing Mortal Kombat, there'd be a huge line. And then people would be like, Wade's here. And the crowd would part, and Wade would just walk up to the machine, get up there, and just kill everyone. He was like the Terminator. Anyway, we had this, back to where I was at, we had this tournament, right? Wade was there, fucking stomping. And somehow, I managed to stomp a lot of people as well, and it got down to me and Wade. He was like my Darth Vader, and I was like, I wish I had a sprite of Wade.
Yeah.
Like, I should Google Wade and see if he pops up. But anyway, and I don't know how, but I beat Wade for the tournament. The only time I'd ever seen him lose, and I beat him and I won $50. And I was very excited. So fuck you, Wade. Wade was my white Wade.
Flawless victory.
Well, no. But man, and then it came out on home consoles, and I remember when that came out on home consoles, I knew it was coming, and it was supposed to launch on September 9th. It was supposed to launch September 9th. I knew about it. I was ready as fuck. And it was that Nintendo lost so many sales on their MK1 because they didn't have the blood. So they were like, nah, fuck that, we're keeping the blood in. And so the Super Nintendo port was supposed to be as almost arcade perfect as you could get. So I was waiting, and I remember one day, I just wanted to stay home from school to fucking just read magazines on Mortal Kombat. And this was a couple days before it was supposed to launch.
Yeah.
So I stayed home and I was reading magazines, and the phone rang. And I said,
And it was Wade.
Yeah. No, it was Babbage's. Remember Babbage's?
Yeah.
This is Babbage's. This was a game store that was in the mall before GameStop came and took over all the mom and pop game stores. Anyway, Babbage's called me, and they're like, anyway, yeah, we have Mortal Kombat's in if you want to come pick it up. And I was like, stop it. But my mom was at work. I was homesick, and so I just had to sit there and I was just thumbing through the magazines. I was like, oh my god, oh my Christ. Until my mom came from work and I was like, Mom, Mortal Kombat's in early! Yeah. And she drove me to the mall and I picked it up, and I remember coming home and instantly I felt better, right? I wasn't sick anymore. And I remember I was so terrified though, putting in the game. I was like, what if the blood's not actually in it? Like, what if they didn't really put it in it, or it's like a glitch and there's no blood? And I remember playing, and I was Liu Kang, and I walked up and I did the uppercut and the blood flew out and I was like, yes! And then the next 25 hours of my life probably were balls deep in that game. And you got it on Genesis.
Called into school the next day. I remember that was the first game that you had to upgrade your controller for Genesis.
Oh yeah, because
that's when I bought the 6-button controller, because I was like, this is way easier.
And if you remember, the cartridges back then for games were fucking expensive.
Ridiculous.
For some reason, like, you think of shit.
$59.99 would be awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember when we went to Babbage's to pick up MK2 on a cartridge, it was $79.99.
$79.99.
And my mom was like, Jesus Christ. But they bought it for me anyway because I would have revolted.
Biggest tantrum ever.
Oh yeah. I would have straight up slit everyone's throats in that store and bathed in their blood if I didn't get that game. Maybe it did have an effect on me.
they do support violence, it seems like.
Yeah. Stay tuned for part 3, in which we discuss, for me, the low points in the series. Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat 4.
Disagree.
Bye!